how would you define the event? Let's begin with that. And what, according to you, are the objectives of it?
Yeah, so right around middle of August, we found that this event was being publicized as it's titled Dismantling Global Hindutva. If people don't know, if you haven't seen the flyer has, sort of Hindu figures that are being plucked out with a hammer and from the roots. At the bottom, there are roots. And the flyer said supported by 40 plus universities and departments and things like that. So that triggered the entire Hindu community because essentially what we saw this as an attack on Hinduism because of the history of the speakers. And I'll talk about the speakers themselves in a bit, but also more importantly, how universities themselves are institutionalizing Hinduphobia. We are okay with people who are individual scholars or professors wanting to do something like this. Fine. We may not like it, but it's their freedom of speech. But when universities actually institutionalize the Hinduphobia, when they are supporting it, even departments, right? That's where the problem comes in. So with the Hindu community quickly galvanized and lots of organizations got together, they started, I'm on like 50 WhatsApp groups just for this conference. Right. And then, not to mention like emails and things like that to galvanize efforts to reach out to all these universities. So students, parents, alumni, community members, donors, everybody started to make calls. We sent 1.2 million emails. So 12 lakh emails were sent between all the organizations and even more maybe, but this is the organizations we know. 150 organizations signed a letter that was then sent to the universities. 150 organizations from US and Canada, all the large temples, so it's not some, small group doing this. It's it's probably the largest galvanization of Hindu American and Hindu Canadian community around this conference. So that's what was going on. Now, let's talk about the speakers, right? Because people say, well, this conference is against Hindutva, it's not really against Hinduism. So I'm going to talk about this for a minute or two as to why that is not really the case.
Sure.
First of all, the speakers themselves have a history of openly glorifying terror groups, okay? Within the United States, both the Maoists and the Naxalites are considered terror groups according to the US State Department. So you have people such as Kavitha, Krishnan, and Nandini Sundar. They have glorified Naxalites, glorified Maoists, right? On paper and officially. Okay, so you have those speakers. Then you have other speakers who have basically either disparaged Hindu deities or disparaged Hindu customs. So you have Meena Kandaswamy, who basically said that in a poem that Sri Rama is a D head and who was sexually impotent. So he couldn't satisfy Sita ji. So Sita ji sent him to get the testicles of the deer and hunt it and bring it back so he can arouse himself. This is the kind of nasty stuff and graphic stuff that she has said about it. And she also compared Hindus to the Taliban. So what's going on in Afghanistan, she said, if you want to understand what's going on in Afghanistan, just look at the RSS in India, right? It's a completely different comparison and completely unwarranted comparison. But now you have to understand, when you are looking at Hindus in America, most of the people in America don't even understand Hinduism. Okay. So now you all of a sudden have this like comparison of a very falsified comparison of terror groups. And remember, this is also happening on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, yes. Right? The worst attack on American soil. So what they're trying to say is that, global Hindutva is apparently a bigger problem than Taliban, Al-Qaeda, etc. So that is the context of this conference. And that's why the Hindu community is so upset and vehemently against this. It's nothing about freedom of speech or anything like that. It's more about the fact that this is the context of where this is happening. And that's where the problems that we see. And that's where the opposition is coming in.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.